Bhatia. In a move that is likely to benefit thousands of Indian professionals, the US immigration policy might see a major overhaul very soon. The US President Donald Trump is set to replace green cards with Build America visa. The new policy will focus more on the merits and skill level of an immigrant rather than the current emphasis on family-based immigration. Currently, only 12% of the total quota of green cards that are issued are based on employment, and the new policy will increase this up to 57%. Trump has said that right now the US immigration laws discriminate against genius and brilliance, since most green cards are given to low-skilled people who make low wages. Whether this policy will pass the muster, pass the House of Representatives is another question, with the opposition from Democrats already in for the proposed overhaul. Let's discuss this story in detail. Joining us now on the show is Ganesh Natarajan, the chairman of 5F World, a platform for skills and startups and social ventures in India. Ganesh, thanks for speaking to us. It's a major overhaul for the US immigration policy. The policy will now be focusing on the merits and the skill level of an immigrant. What does it mean for Indian IT professionals and Indian IT companies?
See, broadly speaking, if you look at the policy, if it gets implemented, and I'll come back to that later, it would be very good for the Indian community, because most people who are looking for green card and before that visas are highly educated, probably have jobs, and are really wanting to move from that point of view. Whereas the way the current green card system operates, the majority of it goes to people who come for family reasons, where you have a son or a daughter there, and then you get an automatic green card. So definitely from an Indian professional point of view, people who want to migrate to the US or work in the US, this would be very, very beneficial as and when it ever gets implemented.
Ganesh, you know, the new policies need not necessarily giving a lot of flexibility, because earlier companies could send their employees working on a certain project to the US to understand the work there and then bring them back too. Now, would this mean that the companies will have to re-strategize?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't think this has any implications on either the L1 visa that people can go for knowledge transfer, or the H1B visa, which is for fresh applicants. So that doesn't change. This will have more direct bearing on green cards, because currently there are over 1 million green cards issued, and this will be a fast track for people who want to become green card holders and eventually citizens. So I think this will be over and above all the impact. So the positive impact for the Indian IT sector certainly will be very, very substantial. I mean, the only point I was making earlier was that, look, this is not going to get passed in this Trump administration, because there is both the Republicans and the Democrats are against something like this. So we're talking about 2021 before anything happens.
Absolutely, Ganesh. You were talking about that, you know, Democrats could be putting in a stiff resistance. Attempts have been made in the past as well. Do you see a passage of this major overhaul that we're talking about in the immigration policy in the House of Representatives?
No, interestingly, this is going to be rejected by both sides, because while you're right, I mean, the Democrats are more interested in what they call the dreamer category, you know, people who moved when they were children, and there's 11 million of those who are all potentially Democratic voters, so they are more interested in protecting their rights. Now, this does not even appeal to the Republicans, because the hardline Republicans are anti-immigration completely. So they would prefer that you reduce the number of green cards. It doesn't matter whether you're Indian or Chinese or Latin American. They'd not allow that. And in the past, it's been rejected primarily because, you know, the Latin lobby, which is obviously much, much, much stronger than the Asian lobby, has been rejecting the immigration bill. So I don't see any chance whatsoever, if you ask me, of this bill being passed by any of the houses or by approval of both parties. This is more of a broad-standing announcement, to my mind, that the president is making, which will probably appeal to a lot of people who are saying, oh my God, the president wants to do something pro-immigration. I think it's more in terms of, you know, building up his own reputation from a White House point of view. If at all this, and he's already made that disclaimer, if at all it gets passed, it will be in the second term of a potential Trump administration with the Republican Senate, with potentially a Republican Congress. A lot of hypotheticals here.
Right. Ganesh, Trump has also said that like Canada and many other countries, modern countries, his administration is looking to create an easy to navigate points-based selection system. What does that mean for the families of various employees?
No, no, as I said, it definitely improves the category because earlier also there was this announcement that anybody who's doing his master's in the US can get a fast track to green card. And I think what it would mean is that the category of people who are coming to the US and want to be in the US, I mean, if you're well educated, if you can integrate with the American culture, if you're good in English communication, so all that will give you a fast track to the US, which is exactly the way Canada views it. Because Canada is extremely easy nowadays to get a residence permit. Of course, getting a job is a different matter altogether. But I think here you will find that, I mean, if it all this gets passed, it will improve the caliber of and the quality of people migrating to America. So clearly, it's positive for both families as well as professionals who want to migrate.
Ganesh, is it negative for any class? Do you see any class getting adversely impacted by this move?
I think for employees, it's going to be perfect. There's no problem whatsoever, especially professionals like in the IT sector. The category who might get adversely affected are people, for instance, I mean, just to give you an example, my daughter is a US citizen. I mean, she's a cancer specialist in Sloan Kettering Hospital. So potentially, if I wanted to migrate, as per the current category, I mean, she would just have to apply and we would get our green cards over a period of time. Now, if this changes, and especially people from, from rural families who then want to go migrate and, live in the US, they may find it more difficult. Because if you don't otherwise qualify from an educated, literate category, then you will find that that door may be shut for you. So from that point of view, it may be bad for some Indian families, but by and large for the professional, it's going to be a perfect win. As I said, it's all hypothetical because it's going to take a long time for this to become any kind of real law.
All right, by and large, for skilled professionals, this is going to be a good move. Ganesh, many thanks for taking your time out and speaking to us at ET Now.